It is 9:36 a.m. I had one trade with SYXX. I actually did well in terms of trading, but I don't know if I had the right amount of size. It's just really hard to call, how much size you're supposed to buy when it's right at the morning as, can have like a really big drop. And I don't feel like I traded the right amount, but I did buy 3,500 shares at 9:33. I saw the turnaround, and of course, it didn't have to turn around, but I was gonna break it if it were to have broken 21, and I was in 3,500 shares right here at 214. It was like a morning panic bounce play, and it had like a gap down too. So, it opened down, and then it downtrended more, and then once it looked like it was trying to do a level 2 turnaround, that's when I got in. I did sell a portion of my position at 218, and that was at 935, which was right here. 218, so right at the bottom, actually, right here is when I sold. And it was starting to trade with a spread, and I did sell the last piece, 2,000 shares at 936 at 222. Right here, 936. I sold it at 222. Why? Because I drew a trend line from here to here, so when it broke it just briefly, I got out of the position entirely. And now this is a big improvement from my trading last week and trying to do this in general where, I'm in the setup, it uptrends, it's working, I'm going to sell a portion of my position. And then the last piece, I'm going to sell it if it does something technical, like it breaks a trend line or a support level or my risk level, whatever it is. And even though it briefly got under it just a little bit and it came back, sure, I don't mind that at all. I'm going to continue to watch this, and we do have a large seller here. I just don't think I traded enough of shares, unfortunately, but I'll find out soon. There isn't really anything interesting with CYBL, although I guess it could try to reverse. I just don't like, how it wasn't really up that much. RMSL looks like it was trying to break 2 cents, which would have been nice, but it did fail. Otherwise, this could have been like a morning spike, maybe if the overall markets were doing better. I'll probably remove this one for now. And yeah, that's about it. I'll make an update later. Okay, it is 10:41 a.m. and I want to go over a trade that I had with TXTM, and I like the way I traded this one overall. This was like a first Green Day stock, and I remembered it before. I like how I at least traded for more than one day towards the upside in a previous run-up, so it means that potentially that it's not going to just be a quick move towards the downside after having a morning spike. And I did get in this one eventually because it had a dip under VWAP, and then it showed that it was trying to turn around. So I did at 10:01 a.m. buy 30,000 shares at 35. And one thing I noticed, I didn't actually get filled here, but it took like a few minutes. This is when I placed the order, but I didn't get filled until a few minutes because when you place an order with this stock, it kind of takes like 20 to a minute to actually fill, 20 seconds to a minute. So I didn't really like the delay it was having there. I did place the order right when it looked like it was going to break 35, and it did. It got to 36, but I wasn't in the position. But I believe in this candle right here at 10:03 is when I did ultimately get filled at 35, maybe 10:02, but it definitely wasn't right when I placed the order at 10:01, almost 10:02. I did sell more than half of my position at 36, and that was because I just felt uneasy with the way this thing was trading with a bit of a delay, and it didn't have to work out. It didn't have to continue the uptrend. It could have been a top here, and then maybe like a weird top. Although I guess at this point when it was breaking past VWAP, it was no longer topping like these two previous highs. So I did sell 20,000 shares at 36, and again, that was at 10:04. So right here, right there at 36, I did sell, and I was happy with it because it could have gone just to VWAP and then just fail and downtrend. And that's kind of like what it did, but it held itself and it even got as high as 41, which is cool. And then I sold the last 10,000 shares at 37 at 10:04, which was right at VWAP. I sold right here in this candle. So essentially, I was probably in right here or right here at 35, and I did sell 20,000 at 36, and I saw the last 10,000 at 37. It did get as high as 38, a few more minutes, although this would have been nerve-wracking to hold through when it wasn't really moving very much. It did get to 39, so that was pretty nice. And then it did have a drop here, a tiny one under VWAP, which is uptrending overall. It's like a higher low off of here, and the dip under VWAP was much less. And that was another follow-up run up, although I guess the volume wasn't as strong as when I first traded it. But that could have been cool. Maybe you buy at 38 and then it gets to 41. But yeah, it looks like it started to get a bit jumpy, and as you can see right here, it's not trading as much as it used to. So I think that's fine for what that was. As for SYXX, it did actually have a dip near the bottom here, and it did uptrend, but the volume wasn't really that nice. But I think if I was watching it more, I might have considered buying it, even with the low price action, the low volume. I wonder how that would have been. Nothing with CYBL or any of the other stocks. And I'll make an update later. I'm happy that I traded this one well. And even though I sold the second piece at a not a very significant point, it was at VWAP where it could have topped. And I didn't like how long it was taking for orders to get filled. So I'm pretty happy with it, and that I also traded the right amount of shares. I thought worst case scenario, I'm going to cut it if it starts to look like it's going to break this 32 level. Worst case scenario, I'm out at 28 with a downtrend, and that would have been a $20 loss according to a $20 to $25 risk level. Okay, it is 11:47 p.m. and I am here to call off. Overall, I am up on a day $6.20, and that was two trades with SYSX and TXTM, and both of these trades I did very well, but I did not have the right amount of shares with SYSX. Looking at my chart now, at least on my Excel file, I should have had almost 3 times the amount of shares, so I would have made maybe $6, and then with the other trade I'd be up just around that $10 level. But that's totally fine. I don't mind that I didn't have the right amount of shares. At one point, I think 3,500 shares was according to a $20 risk level, but the stock has just dropped so much that it was no longer the situation. And as for TXTM, this thing was pretty nice for what it was. That dip under VWAP and that buy I took at 35, it was pretty good for what it was, and I could have sold it much better had I had more patience, but at least I sold the two pieces a lot better, and I want to continue that. And even though I didn't sell the second piece according to a chart level too nicely, it was trading around VWAP once again, and it just took a very long time for orders to get filled, so I took that into consideration. That's really about it, and I will look forward to trading tomorrow, God willing. And SYXX did make a nice uptrend over a longer period of time, but I wouldn't have held through this. That's kind of something weird to do. It's still nice to look at, and that's all I have for today.